Ryan Fox just won the Open Championship with an EICHI Iron shaft in his putter. Not a putter shaft. A KBS C-Taper 130, the same stiff steel that goes into a tour player's 8-iron, cut to 40 inches with 6.5 degrees of loft on the face. Every brand in golf wants you spending $550 on a milled mallet with a plastic insert. But the flat stick that just won a major at Royal Birkdale is a blade head and a shaft swap. 7 vintage heads do the same job for the price of a sleeve of balls. Here's what happened on the Sunday. Fox holed an 11-foot 7-inch birdie putt on the 72nd hole at Royal Birkdale to beat Cameron Young by 1 at 10 under par. First major. Third PGA Tour win. He made 21 birdies that week, more than anybody in the field, and he led the entire field in strokes gained on the greens with just under 9 strokes for the week. He also holed more total putt distance than any player in the championship, 458 feet. And the club that did it is the only thing in his bag that no sponsor pays him to carry. A 2023 Ping Anser 2D, 304 stainless steel, a Pebax insert, tungsten weights in the face, a 360-gram head. Ping's own explanation is that Fox wanted a heavier feel and more stability. So a few years ago, while he was playing in Europe, he plugged a stout C-Taper 8-iron shaft into his flat stick and never took it out. All 3 of his PGA Tour wins have come with that putter. So let me explain what that shaft actually does, because this part never makes it into the marketing. A standard putter shaft is thin and soft. It is built to look correct, not to resist anything. An 8-iron shaft and a heavy C-Taper weight carries roughly double the stiffness and double the weight of a normal putter shaft. When the head meets the ball, a soft shaft flexes and lets the face twist open or closed. A stiff shaft does not. Less deflection means less face angle change at impact, and face angle is the thing that starts a putt on line. Then there is the length and the loft. Fox is at 40 inches with 6.5 degrees. A normal putter is 33 to 36 inches with about 3 degrees. That combination is not random. That is the armlock specification. The grip rests against the lead forearm, the hands sit well ahead of the ball, and all that forward press takes loft off the face, so you build the loft back in. Armlock has been legal since the 1st of January 2016, when the governing bodies banned anchoring and specifically left the forearm rest alone. The only hard rules are that the grip cannot reach above your elbow and it cannot measure more than 1 3/4 inches across. Every one of those specs is a build, not a purchase. We read the spec, not the logo. So here are the 7 heads worth building on. Number 7, the Ram Zebra. Dave Taylor designed this in 1976, and it was probably the first face balanced mallet to ever go mainstream. Hollow, D-shaped, domed crown, 11 alignment lines, and the black and white stripes that gave it the name. Ray Floyd put one in the bag within weeks of release and set the 72-hole scoring record at that year's Masters. He still had it a decade later when he won the US Open at Shinnecock. Nick Price won the 1994 Open Championship at Turnberry with one. Here is why it belongs on a Modine list. The original Zebra had a removable sole plate and interchangeable sole weights, which nobody else was doing at the time. That means the head already has a weight port built into it. You unscrew the plate, you pack tungsten powder or lead behind it, you screw it back down, and you have added 30 grams without a single piece of tape showing on the outside. Face balanced also happens to be the correct pairing for an ARMLOCK stroke, because armlock takes rotation out of the motion, and a face balanced head wants to travel straight back and straight through. Clean original Zebras with the factory grips still on them sell around $30. Your dad probably has one in the garage. Number 6, the Acushnet Bullseye. John Reuter Jr. started making these by hand in his garage in Acushnet, Massachusetts in the mid-1940s, which is why collectors still call the early ones garage putters. Soft brass, center shafted, symmetrical enough that you could putt left-handed or right-handed with the same head, with a flanged version added later for a bit more stability. Acushnet took the design into mass production at the end of the 50s, and it stayed in tour bags for the next 30 years. Johnny Miller shot 63 in the final round of the 1973 U.S. Open at Oakmont with one. Bob Charles, Tom Kite, and Corey Pavin all won with them. This is the trickiest build on the list, and I want you going in with your eyes open. Brass is soft, and the classic head is light, lighter than anything you can buy new. You cannot drill it aggressively, and you should not try. What you can do is lead tape on the sole and a genuine counterweight up in the grip end, and that pairing is what turns a floaty old brass blade into something with real tempo. Originals with the original shaft and grip go for around $30. Rebuilt ones with a fresh grip run about $140. The heads stamped John Reuter Jr. are the collectible ones, so those you leave Alon. Number 5. The McGregor Response ZT. This is the most important putter on the list, and it has nothing to do with what it is worth. Clay Long designed it at McGregor in the mid-80s. OVERSIZED aluminum head, which in 1985 looked ridiculous. When Long first showed it to Jack Nicklaus in July of that year, Nicklaus asked him whether it was a joke. Then Nicklaus nearly binned it. The head was so big and so light that wind gusts were moving it at address, and he missed a 6-inch putt at the Honda Classic and missed the cut. So he had the head weighted with lead. That is the entire fix. He added lead to a production putter head to get a heavier feel, and 2 months later he shot 30 on the back, 9 at Augusta, and won his 6th green jacket at 46 years old. McGregor had planned to sell 6,000 response putters that year. The day after the Masters, they took 5,000 orders. They sold free H-Re 100,000. So the next time somebody tells you that tinkering with a stock putter is amateur hour, remind them that the most famous back 9 in Masters history was putted with a lead-weighted head. The original sold for $89. Anniversary reissues turn up between $30 and $325 depending on condition and whether it carries a signature. Number 4. The Napa style heel shafted blade. This is the sleeper. Napa style just describes a heel shafted forged blade with a hosel that flows into the head, and that silhouette got sold under a lot of different pro shop labels over the years. Wilson built them as tour special forged models. PGA built the 404. Nobody collects these, which is exactly why you want one. I have seen a PGA 404 Napa style listed on eBay at $9.99, 35 inches, original fluted shaft, grip long dead. A Wilson Tour Special forged Napa style went on sideline swap for $61. Forged carbon steel, no insert, nothing clever about it at all. Just a soft piece of metal with a hosel on the heel. Which means when you pull the shaft, you are not damaging anything valuable. And when you add weight, you are adding it to a head that was never engineered to a modern weight spec in the first place. Old blades commonly ran 320 to 325 grams, back when grips weighed 45. Modern heads are 350 and up. Fox is at 360. So a vintage blade is 30 to 40 grams light before you touch it, and closing that gap is the single Bidgest performance change available to you. Quick one before the top 3. Every head so far has cost less than a sleeve of premium balls, and every one of them can be built to the exact specification that just won a major. So tell me in the comments what is actually sitting in your garage right now. Brand, model, and what is stamped on it. And I will tell you whether it is a build or a keeper. And stay with me for number 1, because it is the same head family Fox is playing, and there is one word stamped in the cavity that decides whether you cut it up or never touch it again. Number 3, the Ping Pal. The Anser gets all the attention and all the price. The Pal is the same engineering in a slightly different shape, and it is sitting in every used barrel in America. Manganese bronze blade, slant neck, heel and toe weighting, low center of gravity to get the ball rolling instead of skidding. Karsten Solheim's whole argument, minus the famous name. Phoenix-era Pals sit in the $50 to $75 range unless they are new old stock, and there is a practical reason to build on one instead of an Anser. Manganese bronze is denser than the stainless heads that came later, so a PAL already feels heavier at the same size, and it takes lead tape without the sole starting to look like a science project. The slant neck also gives you a little toe hang, which matters if you are not going full arm lock and you still have some arc in your stroke. Pull the shaft, ream the hosel to take a taper tip iron shaft, cut it to length, add your counterweight, and you have a putter that costs less than a dozen balls and rolls, like something with a 3-digit price tag. Number 2, the Wilson 8802. This one carries more history than anything else on the list. The shape came from Arnold Palmer in the early 1960s when he was a Wilson player, and the sole was stamped, designed by Arnold Palmer. When Palmer left the company in 1963, Wilson took his name off and renamed it 8802 after its catalog number. That is the whole origin of the most romantic putter in golf, a catalog number. Ben Crenshaw's father bought him a used one out of Harvey Pennock's shop for his 15th birthday. $15. Crenshaw called it Little Ben and putted with it for decades, and it finally broke on him in the singles match at the 1987 Ryder Cup at Muirfield Village. Go back further and the design traces to George Lowe's Wizard 600, and Nicklaus carried a George Lowe for 15 of his 18 majors. Mechanically, it is a heel-shafted flare-tip blade with a strong arc bias and almost no heel-toe weighting, which makes it the closest thing on this list to what Fox is actually playing. Ordinary examples run $60 to $150. Special runs go higher. A Chicago Classic sold at $152. A 1998 Pebble Beach Pro-Am edition listed at $325. Number 1, the Ping Anser 2. This is the family that just won the Open, and the modern head Fox plays descends directly from what Solheim was building in 1966. Now the word I promised you. Look in the cavity. The earliest Ansers were made in Scottsdale, Arizona, and roughly 4,000 of them carry that stamp. Used ones sell between $1,500 and $4,000. Production later moved to Phoenix. In Phoenix era, Anser 2s sell for $50 to $75. Same silhouette, same design, one word in the cavity, and thousands of dollars between them. Vintage Ping collectors also reject refurbished heads actively and loudly. Aggressive polishing or a re-tumble strips the patina and softens the stamps, and that patina is precisely what they are paying for. So the rule is simple. If it says Scottsdale, wash it with soap and water and leave it alone forever, because that head is worth more than the build you are about to put it in. If it says Phoenix, that is your donor. Then you take it to the specification that won at Royal Birkdale. 40 inches long, 6.5 degrees of loft, a stiff iron shaft in place of the putter shaft, a 17-inch grip resting on the forearm, and the head brought up to around 360 grams with tape or powder. That putter, built out of a $50 head, is the same spec as the one that holed the winning putt on the 72nd hole at the Open Championship. 4 rules before you touch anything. Rule 1. Read the cavity, the sole, and every stamp before you buy and before you cut. Scottsdale Pings, John Reuter, Junior Bullseyes, and anything with documented tour or presentation history is a collector piece, not a donor head. Modifying those destroys real money. Rule 2. Weight the head before you do anything else. Old blades run 320 to 325 grams, modern spec is 350 and up, and Fox is at 360. Close that gap first and half your tempo problem solves itself. Lead tape on the sole, low and centered, or tungsten powder behind a removable sole plate if the head has one. Rule 3. Counterweight after you lengthen, never before. Adding 6 inches of shaft moves the balance point of the whole club, and if you do not put weight back into the grip end, the head goes dead in your hands. That is why every tour build pairs a heavy head with a heavy grip. The pairing is what works, not either half on its own. Rule 4. Check the rules before you check the mirror. Armlock is legal, but the grip cannot go above your elbow and it cannot measure more than 1 3/4 inches across. Measure it with the club in your hands, because once that grip is glued, you are not adjusting the length. You do not need a $500 mallet with alignment lines painted on the crown. The specification that won the 154th Open Championship is a blade head, a stiff iron shaft, a long grip and weight in the right place. Fox has been playing that build for years and won all 3 of his PGA Tour titles with it. And the only thing that changed at Royal Birkdale is that everybody finally noticed. So tell me in the comments, have you ever swapped a shaft or added lead to an old putter, and what did it do to your stroke? Subscribe if you would rather build tour spec than pay for it. Next week, I am pulling apart the other half of this, the vintage forged iron sets outperforming current players' irons for under $200, and one of them is sitting in almost every trade and barrel in the country.